All right, I think it's about time to start talking about this subject. Now, I have avoided it because the money was in DeFi. Now, non-fungible tokens or NFTs are pretty much being talked about by every major influencer in this market. Now it's time to explore it. Some of these have already popped off like 1,000% plus, but I believe, and I really do think, I found an undervalued NFT right now as we speak that is not a scam and is probably gonna reap massive profits. Keep watching. What's going on, everybody? Alex back with another cryptocurrency video, and now it's finally time to start talking about NFTs. Now, NFTs have not previously been a trend, though some coins have been, skyrocketing, and that's pretty much all people look at. They look at number go up. They are not literally a trend. They don't have nearly as much transaction volume as DeFi, which DeFi is hardly a trend. And now when we think of these type of things, guys, you have to take it very serious, extremely serious, because there's been a lot of like little fads that have came around and pretty much went to zero. So I don't categorize things as trends unless they really are. And it looks like it might be a trend, okay? But before we get into the video, if you could do us both a favor, hit that subscribe button as well as the push notification bell. I talk about cryptocurrency and entrepreneurship. Everything I do on this channel is unbiased. That's why I don't accept sponsorships. It makes it easier for me to talk about cryptocurrencies in a way most people can't. One of the biggest propositions of my channel is the fact that I keep the complete and total honest truth, and I'm a human being just like you on the internet. Nobody's better than the other, and I provide evidence to pretty much everything I talk about. And in this video, we're going to talk about evidence of an NFT that I really think is undervalued as we speak, and it might be the sweet spot for me. I mean, obviously everybody's heard of Engine Coin, but this is pretty much popped off, and it's gone up a lot of percentages. The goal here is not to find the things that have already increased. You want to find the things that haven't jumped, right, or have jumped a little bit, that have the potential to get to the point where they're at Engine Coin's height, right? So it's about finding that sweet spot. So this is the sweet spot for me. So I'll go over all that and more, okay? But I do want to get on the topic a little bit of these trends, because we talk about a lot of different cryptocurrencies, and I try to stick to a specific thesis. And one of the big part of my investment thesis is the fact that I do not stray away from the prize. And the prize right now has been DeFi for the longest period of time. Now, NFTs have been arising. People have been talking about it. Just because Gary Vee talks about NFTs on the internet does not mean it's a legitimate trend. There's been times in the past where these big famous people have talked about things and they've gone to zero, okay? Just because there's hype behind something doesn't actually mean it's real. But we're getting to the point where I see the end of the tunnel where NFTs can actually be a real thing. Yeah, we've seen a lot of percentage gains, but I really think it can be a lot more. But let me explain what NFTs really are, because I know you guys know in the context of paintings and collectibles, but NFTs are a little bit more than that. Non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, are cryptographic assets on the blockchain with unique identification codes and metadata that distinguish them from each other. Unlike cryptocurrencies, they cannot be traded or exchanged at equivalency. This differs from fungible tokens like cryptocurrencies, which are identical to each other and therefore can be used as a medium for commercial transactions. Now, essentially, let's put this into easy words. NFTs are the same thing as cryptocurrencies, except for instead of having a supply of identical tokens, they're essentially one token. So I can have like an Alex NFT, and whoever has this Alex NFT essentially owns the original Alex NFT and has a unique signature that basically says, hey, that's the original version. Now, the reason why this is important is because in the past, people pretty much copy and paste pictures all over the internet. So for example, if you make a beautiful painting or something like that and you try to put it on the internet, pretty much everybody can copy and paste. Now, you could obviously, try to sue them for copyright information, but like, how far can you actually get when there's billions and billions of people accessing the internet, right? They can pretty much copy and paste anything they want to when it comes to music, when it comes to, pictures. Now, this is the same case, essentially, with pretty much every digital asset on the internet. Anything, right? Anything on the internet is pretty much free game, right? Anyone can take it and replicate it. Now, with blockchains and this artificial trust, this has completely changed. Now, that it changed from money, right? Right now, with money, there's a lot of people that control it, and they can pretty much print money. And that's how the Federal Reserve works, right? So when it came out for Bitcoin, it basically made something called artificial trust. Artificial trust means that you could trust this because nobody can control it. It's going to be the same thing in NFTs. In this case, NFTs, if you have this same painting that you created or whatever the case is, this piece of artwork, you can have a unique code that says if you own that code, you own the original artwork. Before, the only way to do this was in real life, like you have the real life painting in your house, right? Now we can pretty much do it with any asset or any piece of item on earth. So it's not just artwork and, you know, cards, like basketball cards. NFTs can be pretty much anything. Like I can see in the future, not now, but in the future, maybe having an NFT for certain rooms in a house, and you know, you can own one room rather than owning the whole house, right? Things like that are possible. Not only that, but the efficiencies are ridiculous. And you know, there's so many things wrong. Like I believe, and don't quote me on this because I know the exact information, but basically when there was the whole entire coronavirus and everything that was going on, there was a lot of people stealing masks, right, from the manufacturers in China. So that's one area where we can have NFTs pegged to the mask so you can track exactly what's going on. Same thing with votes, right? Votes have been manipulated, obviously, in the United States, and people are really angry about it. I don't know if they are manipulated. I'm just saying there's been proof that there's manipulation in the past. This could all be avoided with something that's real and tokenized on the blockchain. So that's enough rambling. Okay, I've explained to you what NFT is. It's not limited to artwork. It just happens to be artwork is the thing that's popping off right now. So is this a real trend? Okay. Personally, from what I've been looking at, it looks like it's starting to become a real trend. There was a little bit of hype back when DeFi summer happened. Now it looks like there's a lot of hype happening, okay? A lot of transaction volume, a lot of market cap. Things are blowing up as we speak. So, but before we jump into the coin, I know people are gonna like, you know, buy, even though I tell you guys, this is not financial advice and you should never take it as so. You should back up everything I say with your own evidence. I know people are gonna immediately go to the website and click and just buy immediately after they watch this video. I have to make sure the market conditions are correct before I talk about any of these. Now, if we look at the total market capitalization of all of cryptocurrency, this is the big chart here. It looks like it's making an inverse head and shoulders as we speak right now, which is extremely bullish. Okay. Now we've talked about an asymmetrical triangle in a couple of videos or so. If you've been watching my channel, and it broke through that, which was a bullish pattern. Now it's making an inverse head and shoulders. I can definitely see at least the least amount. We could see this jump at least 5 to 6%. Okay. Which in the terms of all cryptocurrencies, that's a lot. Okay. So that means that your individual projects that you're talking about, your coin that you have in your bag, get like large percentages if we go up 5% to, 5 to 6%. Okay. Now, whether we break above the last all-time high, that's up into interpretation. Now, personally, I think we are. I really do think we are. Hence these videos and how I've been making them, making a lot of altcoin calls, making a lot of purchases because of this reason. Okay. So I really do think it's going to happen. I think the market conditions are good with the total market cap. Now, if we look at Bitcoin, it looks like it might make a cup and handle formation, as well as you can see here. This is an ascending triangle. Okay. Both of them, bullish patterns, broke out of the ascending triangle, and it looks like it's creating a cup and handle formation as well. That's not perfect, but I've seen a couple of other technical analysis guys talking specifically about this. So I thought it was worth talking about. Bitcoin looks bullish. Also, Ethereum, I don't have the chart up, but the last time I looked at it, it looked like it was pretty good. We talked about it in the channel multiple times. So, Ethereum is going to probably break its all-time high. Another case for NFTs is the fact that we've been exploding in search volume. This is proof that we really didn't have a trend back in the day. But now look at this trend. This is proof right here that it might be coming soon. Like the trend, it might be a real thing. Like NFTs, an explosion of NFTs might be actual reality. So pay attention. Also, I thought it was just interesting news. Jack Dorsey sold, it was like the original tweet. Basically, he made an NFT out of the first tweet ever made. And right here, the high bid is currently $2.5 million. He's saying he's giving it to Africa, but you can see that these NFTs are clearly starting to get some traction, and we have some big people talking about. Obviously, Gary Vee, I believe it was like Logan or Jake Paul, one of them two, I don't know, they're like the same to me, just made their NFT and sold it for a lot of money. There's been a lot of buzz around NFTs. Now, if we look at ENJ, it's been outcompeting Ethereum, which is relatively hard. It's literally been outcompeting Ethereum, okay? And it looks like we're getting to some resistance here, and I wouldn't be surprised if we break right through it, okay? We see something similar to this right here, and we can keep going. And the reason why I'm looking at ENJ is because it's the top. That's the number one. So it's like kind of like the Bitcoin of NFTs, if that makes sense, right? Now, I'm not saying it can't be passed. As you can see here, they're very close. But what I'm saying is that it's good to look at that chart compared to Ethereum to see the growth in comparison to coins that we value and trust. NFT market is currently $8 billion, okay? I remember when it was like, we were celebrating DeFi being $1 billion, right? So it looks like things are starting to actually become a reality, okay, when it comes to NFT markets. Now, the volume is not as good as I want it to be, but you can see, obviously, this volume is crazy. You can just see that the traction is happening, and it might not be a trend right now, but I really do think it's going to be a trend in the future. And the reason why I'm hitting home on this is because once you make that decision about the trend or the cycle or whatever you want to call it, right? Once you make the decision that DeFi is an area you want to invest, then it's pretty much open game. But if you're wrong about that decision, then you lose pretty much on every single trade. But if you're right about, and I'm talking about long term, not on the daily, obviously you see these going crazy, right? But if you're right, you can, again, I say this all the time, you can close your eyes, pick 10 coins, and you'll probably make money. So it looks like we are actually becoming a trend. Now, what is the coin I'm talking about when it comes to undervalue? As you can see here, Flow hasn't really gained that much in the last 7 days. It's only jumped about 23%. Engine Coin 150%. Pretty much all of these are in triple digit territory, right? 150%, 395%, 114, 111, except for Flow, okay? So this is the sweet spot for me. I do think it's going to capture some volume. Another, case for Flow. But before we go into that, actually, before we go into the bullish case for Flow, let's talk about what Flow is. Flow is a fast, decentralized, and developer-friendly blockchain designed as a foundation for new generation of games, apps, and digital assets that power them. Flow empowers developers to build thriving crypto and crypto-enabled businesses. Applications on Flow can keep customers in control of their own data, create new kinds of digital assets tradable on the open market, accessible for anywhere in the world, and build open economies owned by the users that help make them valuable. Now, it's basically a blockchain to create, design, and launch your own NFT. So it's obviously capturing all the value of all the NFTs under it. Now, what is the NFTs under it? Two of the biggest platforms, CryptoKitties. Now, this is one of the OG NFT platforms. Back in 2017, they pretty much broke Ethereum when it comes to, it was like the first case of breaking, not exactly breaking Ethereum, but messing up the transactions costs and the speeds, right? It was expensive. It was like super expensive. It was like the first time we seen transaction fees on Ethereum go up to like $50 to $100. It was because of CryptoKitties in 2017. So I really do think it's going to make a comeback. You guys know when it comes to cryptocurrencies, I treat them like collectibles, right? When I'm looking at cryptos, I'm looking at it in a collector's mindset, right? So if there's a first of its kind, right? A first big one, a first popular one, it's probably not the first NFT, but if there's a first of its kind where it's like, CryptoKitties, I'm liking it. Okay. So Flow has CryptoKitties under their platform. They also have something that's really big. NBA Top Shot has been huge in the NFT world, Look at this marketplace. There's some coins selling for like, as you can see here, $5,000. There's been way more. Like, let's see how much LeBron James is selling for. Look at that. Oh, that's not actual LeBron. You got to get the actual card. $77,000, $18,000. It's ridiculous. $79,000, only 8 listings, right? So $213,000. Guys, do you see this? 100 grand, right? These are being listed for a lot of money and being sold for a lot of money, guys. They have a lot of ways to buy it. You can buy it from the open market. You can open your own packs. Essentially, this is creating a lot of buzz. And I definitely see this being a thing in the future when it comes to trading cards, when it comes to Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, et cetera. They're probably way more efficient on the blockchain, right? You can't lose it. It's essentially yours forever unless you lose your private key or whatever the case is. This is causing huge buzz. And I believe that these two use cases are specifically bullish when it comes to Flow and the fact that they're under their blockchain. These are two really good use cases for NFTs. Now, if we look at the actual flow chart, it looks like against USD, it's creating a double bottom as we speak. So, and at the same time, it's an asymmetrical triangle, which both charts look very bullish when it comes to Flow USDT. Again, if I come back over here, this is NFTs. Now, if I look at, for example, the 7-day and I do change versus USD in 7 days, you can see Flow is right there. Flow is literally right there. It has not gained a lot, only 20% in the last 7 days. And against BTC, it's only gained 7%. Against ETH, it's only gained 2.41%, right? So it looks like the sweet spot. Even if you look at, for example, let's just put up like change versus BTC in 30 days. You can see Engine Coins gained a lot versus BTC. Let's look at USD, right? You can see Engine Coins gained a lot. Flow has only gained 255%. So I don't know. It feels like there's room to grow and it's safe, right? So we're not investing in, NFT 6,432. it's pretty much going to go to zero or something. I don't know if it's going to go to zero, but it's not going to be as volatile as other coins. When you guys are getting into new emerging markets, like for example, we've been talking about the Binance chain a lot on this channel recently. When you get into new emerging markets, it's smart to, just pick the top coins, right? And don't get scammed, right? So, and I've learned that the hard way multiple times. So I'm just trying to tell you guys, like, the game here is not to find, an undervalued coin. And you could even say this is in regular, DeFi, for example, still to this day. Some of the top DeFi protocols are just getting more and more market cap in comparison to the smaller market cap ones. Now, we look for the smaller market cap ones to get an asymmetrical opportunity. And maybe some of this information is going over your head. I highly recommend that you guys subscribe to the channel, or, go ahead and fill an application out on our website, thefundamentalsecrets.com, so you can understand what we're talking about here, because it's very important. But what I'm trying to say is that sometimes the bigger projects just accumulate more, and the smaller projects just die. That's just the way it is. Network effects sometimes. I will say, though, the asymmetrical opportunities, if you have good risk management, right? If you're not throwing your money on every single coin and you understand what you're actually doing, you're tracking it the right way, okay? Then, and you use, for example, some type of system. We have a checklist, right? So we have a checklist to actually identify these, where you could just pick a random coin and then just do your research on it and just go through the checklist and look at the different variables of the checklist. If you don't have a system for yourself, it's pretty much like you're, you don't know what you're doing, right? You don't want to throw away your money. This is true investing, right? You don't want to treat this like a game. It's so funny because we're talking about games and I'm telling you not to treat it like a game. It's hilarious. But remember, these are tokens that essentially capture the value of the games. They're not actual games, right? So this is like equivalent to investing in Ethereum when it comes to the apps on Ethereum, right? Same thing here. Investing in Flow is essentially buying like the interface or software, and then the actual, tokens or the individual assets or the NFTs are like the apps, right? So essentially, you could say that it's good investing. I said this like 4 times, so bear with me here. Now, the only negative I really see about Flow, and this is with limited research, but I put my money where my mouth is, right? The only thing I really see is that they have some centralization issues going on. Now, they mitigate it by saying that they try to have an equal distribution and try to get the coins out to as many, hands as possible, and try to give it to like developers to help the ecosystem thrive. Personally, I don't like the centralization. I wish they had more of a fair launch. I understand they have developers to pay, et cetera, but this is probably the biggest red flag. But again, as you guys can see on the USD chart, when it comes to technical analysis, pretty much checks out. Fundamental analysis pretty much checks out. It's the top 3 project in NFT, so it has to check out, right? The fundamentals have to be there. Obviously, with all the news coming around, with all these big influencers pumping it, and trust me, I'm getting a lot of influencers contacting me, asking me to help them create an NFT themselves. So I'm seeing an influx of all these people. These guys want to get their artwork. They want to get their digital content monetized some way, shape, or form. This is the new way to monetize it. Things are looking really bullish. So personally, yes, Flow to me is undervalued, at least in this situation at the time you're watching this video. But that's it for this video, guys. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism. Subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with this technology, you will get left behind. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Catch you in the next one.